Hey, Mark, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for joining me on Indispensable Appraisers podcast.
Happy to be here.
Cool. Mark, tell me a little bit about you, your company, where you're at. I know you've got some growth plans here. I'm starting to see you pop up all over the place. Tell me just a quick overview of LPA.
Absolutely. So we're a regional appraisal firm. We've got about 60 appraisers in 11 different offices, headquartered here in Dallas. We do a little bit of everything, retail, office, industrial, a lot of bank work. Also, have got a thriving right-of-way practice as well, but just opening some new offices here and there.
Cool, cool. Well, let's start off with what in the valuation space, our industry in general, what are we winning at? What are we doing a good job at?
I think most firms are doing a pretty good job on technology. For so many decades, we struggled with technology and we were kind of like a laggard profession that was behind. And I think we are finally catching up. We're currently embracing some artificial intelligence stuff to add on to our platform. And I think a lot of other big national groups are doing some of the same thing. And I think we're doing a better job than we have in years past. So really happy with technology.
So you mentioned AI platforms, not to give out, exactly what you're doing, but
Sure.
is it a closed AI loop where you're kind of mining or analyzing your own data? How would you explain to AI if somebody that hasn't done it for their appraisal firm?
Yeah. So if you haven't tested ChatGPT yet, you got to play with it. The 4.0 OpenAI that was recently released is exponentially better than the 3.0. So if you mess with the free AI, it can be a little scary, and I think has no place in our profession by any means. Copilot is something that operates under the Office 365 platform. And so we've got a handful of our team members that have already added Copilot, which is Office 365's artificial intelligence. So they've added that to their platform. And my understanding of the Copilot system and the way it functions is it has the ability to read through everything in our SharePoint library, which is about 8 terabytes. So we're still kind of on the front edge of it, experimenting with it. And we'll always make sure that we document that if we ever put anything like that in an appraisal. So
Oh, cool. Appreciate that. So
yeah,
what in the valuation space, what's our greatest challenges?
I think right now we're continuing to navigate some softer than usual demand. I mean, interest rates have gone up exponentially over the past couple of years. They're starting to level. We may get an interest rate decrease, by the end of this year. And I think there's a lot of kind of this standing on the sidelines, waiting to see what's going to happen. So as a result, appraisal demand has definitely softened over the past year and a half. We're starting to see a few little signs that maybe it's picking up. But internally, we kind of joke that we don't want to say it too soon because we might jinx it. So
Do you think that if you're an appraisal firm, would you take that opportunity of soft demand to maybe invest in technology and process?
I love that. I think that, yes, I think it's a great time to push the pedal to the metal and be kind of contrarian, whether it be investing in technology or trying to hire back office people to help, build for the future when demand does come back. So.
All right. Any other challenges you think, generally speaking?
I think our profession is struggling some. I mean, appraisal bias is pretty well documented. I like to believe and pray that it's few and far between. I believe that it is, but they're navigating some of that and adding some additional training to USPAP. And so I think that topic hopefully will be behind us fairly soon. Also, I think I wish our profession was more diverse than it is. But I think there's a lot of efforts coming through the Appraisal Institute and different chapters to help move the needle on that topic as well. So
Okay, great. And where do we go from here, right? What's the future? I'd like to jump in a little bit of,
yeah,
I've seen, some of the things you, excuse me, post on LinkedIn where I see you are having offsites. I see you just socializing, just going out to lunch or dinner or whatever you guys do.
yeah,
I think that is so critical to an appraisal firm of not the old model of here's an old report, go copy it, go figure it out, or just do your work. I don't want to socially interact with you. Just, getting to know your people
Yeah.
Elaborate on that.
Yeah, sometimes the appraisal profession is a bit of a thankless job. When I first got into this business, I remember someone telling me, hey, an appraisal report, all it is a speed bump in the road to a real estate deal. And I think sometimes because of what we do, checking boxes, producing documents, lengthy, meticulous, detailed appraisals, I think that it's even that much more important that within the walls of our organizations, if we can like and enjoy being around the people that we work with, and spend time with them and get out of the office and do some things together, I think it makes the profession so much more palatable and can make it a lot more fun. Not to mention the fact that what we do is pretty hard. So, I mean, you're learning how to value highly complex pieces of commercial property. So there's a big learning curve to that. And goodness, if you know and enjoy being around your coworkers, you're going to feel that much more comfortable to learn from one another. So it all kind of feeds together.
Great, great. And on the on the supervisor model, do you guys have a unique way of like, how do you train your folks? Like you said, there's a lot to learn. So how do you take somebody from, let's say, just graduated or a second career? What kind of roadmap do you give them? How do you do that?
Right. No, great question. I mean, we've been doing it for quite a while. We bring them in as an associate. Usually within a year, we promote them to senior associate. And we tailor our training a lot off of what's the personality of the person they're going to report to, combined with how does the new associate learn. Some of our leaders like to hand someone an entire folder and say, hey, I want you to write this entire appraisal, take ownership of it. We have a handful of our leaders that'll say, hey, you know what? Why don't you just familiarize yourself with writing the front half of the appraisal, and then we'll work together on the back half. We've done it both ways, and it really can work either way. But usually within about a year and a half to 2 years, our people are fairly self-sufficient. So,
Do you find it's a challenge to find new appraisers?
it hasn't been for us traditionally. They're at least not for the last number of years. We've got a pretty good benefits package and have built relationships with various different universities. And I think, investing the time and building those relationships and going to speak at different schools plays a big part in getting some momentum on the recruiting trail.
So you speak at different universities?
I have.
Oh, awesome. So are you brought in, like, how does that work?
Well, so I've been on the board of the Master's Real Estate program at Texas A&M for a number of years, and enjoy participating in that and investing some time there. And then about 4 years ago, we ended up getting some traction with University of Alabama, and I've gone and spoken there. And then we've got a number of people that work for us that went to Texas Tech, and so got some relationships there as well. But it's kind of like sometimes success breeds success. So once you get, have hired a few people and they enjoy working here, they tell their friends. So
Nice, nice. Any other topics that you'd like to touch upon relative to our evaluation space or technology or?
I'd like to give a shameless plug for the PAL Act, which is the Portal of Appraisal Licensure. I know it's a bill that's being proposed. My understanding is it's going to be bipartisan. One of the things in our profession that's pretty inefficient is being able to get licensed in multiple states. There's some inconsistency with the way the states do things. And if this act is able to be passed, my understanding is it's going to have a portal where, if I'm licensed in, say, Texas, if I want to go select different states, that I'll be able to just do a pull down and request which states. This is a topic that's been talked about for a number of years, and I'm hoping that maybe it's close to the finish line. Have you heard anything about this at all, Jeff? Or
I have not. Do you know who's driving it?
I don't remember the name of the legislature, the person who's doing it offhand. I really don't, but I know that I think it's been being passed around in the last couple of years. So
Oh, great. No, I'm not familiar with that.
yeah, it's called the PAL Act, PAL, Portal for Appraisal Licensure.
Gotcha. And talking about education and licensing, do you think that should be revamped? Do you think it's too much, not enough? Is it a challenge if I mean, obviously you're bringing in new people, you're actually doing it for commercial.
Right,
Do you find
right.
the licensing avenue arduous?
Yes and no. I do. I think people learn best in a classroom. I think when people are just checking the boxes online, even though they may legitimately pass, I just don't think they retain it quite as well. So call me old fashioned, but I would love to see appraisers more back in the classroom, particularly for the high level classes. So
Oh, oh. Well, Mark, I definitely appreciate your time today.
my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.